I had the opportunity to sing background for Michael Jackson, and I am so excited. And I didn't have any video, but I got the chance to meet Michael Jackson, guys. And I want to give that story because it was amazing for me. And I ended up going out, and I was in the parking lot. I don't know how I got down there, but I got down there. I know it was the Most High. When I walked out, Michael Jackson was walking in, and he was walking right towards me. Can you imagine the king of pop? I wanted to go.
Yo, stop fronting and use your head.
Wake up. America is Babylon, and she will be destroyed. Revelation 18 says, "Come out of her, my people. You must leave now."
Imagine a nation, rich beyond imagination, overflowing with influence, power and pride. A land where the...
Wake up. America is Babylon, and she will be destroyed. Revelation 18 says, "Come out of her, my people. You must leave now."
Shalom, praise Ahaya, Bahashim Yeshaya, Wakodash Wawak. Welcome. This is Sister Kana, and welcome to Ahaya's Promise, my music channel, Chandra Simmons. And thank you for joining me. I pray you all are doing well. It's been a minute for me, but I'm so thankful and blessed to be back. And this is like the first time I'm really starting to do content on A Highest Promise. So, bear with me, but I thank you for coming. Thank you for joining me, guys. This is very special to me because, for one, I'm going to be covering the Michael Jackson review. And I got a lot of information on Michael Jackson, so please stay with me. And a lot of it, Dr. Umar did an interview, and he brought out a lot of stuff, so I want to cover that as well. But I mainly want to talk about Michael Jackson movie and things like that. But guys, I want to say that this is my music channel, and I am celebrating 40 years in the music industry. Woohoo! Yay! And I am... I'm happy to do this channel because it's like 40 years in the wilderness for me. Now that I left Babylon, I left Babylon, praise Ahaya, and I've been living in Jordan. But I really want to celebrate this time, and I'm going to take a whole year because I did my first single in 1987, and 2027, which, this will be all leading up to it, I will be 40 years for me. And I liken it to the wilderness journey, how we had to journey in the wilderness for 40 years with our forefather Moses. Our forefathers did, not us, but we liken it to it. So it's 40 years in the wilderness for me, and I praise Ahaya that he brought me out of Babylon, that I survived Babylon, that it was rough, us being under those curses and things. So for those of you who are first time joining me, this is my music channel. It is a Bible-based channel as well, but I will be covering worldly music and my time and from my perspective being in the music industry. So my first, review video will be Michael Jackson, because I went to see his movie and I thought it was awesome, and I will go into it. But I want to provide some information, a little tidbit that people don't really talk about, and it has a lot to do with my channels as well, because I have a few channels talking about come out of Babylon, America is Babylon from the Bible, and that Jordan is the safe place. And anybody who have seen any of my channels, this is what I talk about. But did you know, and I know you've heard, that Michael Jackson also fled Babylon 2005 after he was acquitted of the allegations that they put on him, you know, with the minor, with the children, and all these things. He left Babylon, and he got out of Babylon, and he fled, and he went to Bahrain, and he went there to get some peace, but he had planned to move and live there permanently, and he was there for roughly about a year. And you know, praise the higher, he even thought to get out of Babylon. Praise the higher. And a lot of people don't talk about that, because he went there, he you know, under the royal family, extended, you know, to him as a guest, and they, you know, opened up their palace to him and ended up giving like him a mansion, or he ended up renting a mansion. I don't know, you know, how it was, but he stayed in and outside of Babylon for a year, and had planned on staying. And just to give you some more information on that, one of the kings, the children, was you know, amateur songwriter. He wanted to get into the music business. He wanted to help Michael Jackson do a new album. They gave, you know, they did a state of the art studio, and he was signed an agreement to record with them, and you know, he was going to do a play and like a project, you know, a whole big thing. So you know, Michael Jackson knew to come out of Babylon, and he knew to get up out of harm's way. But you know, certain circumstances arose, and I think he got an offer to do a tour, and that This Is It tour was going to be his last tour, and he was probably going to settle in Bahrain. So I'm telling you this story to say that, you know, even Michael Jackson knew to get out of Babylon, and he came to the Middle East, and he started to build his life here. He was here for about a year, and you know, and then he ended up going back, and that was the greatest mistake that he could have ever made. You know, going back to Babylon, thinking it was sweet, and thinking that he can finagle, because he really not understanding, even though he knew, he really knew, you know, Michael Jackson knew that these people had no good for him. He was constantly making songs. He talked about Tommy Mottola was the devil. I mean, you know, they tried to, you know, get the catalog from him. They wanted that catalog because he owned the Beatles catalog, and a lot of other artists, Madonna, I believe, Celine Dion. I mean, he had gotten access to one of the major music catalogs, and he brought it from under them, and they were very upset about this, and mainly because it was the Beatles, and that was their like main group or whatever, you know, in the world. So they made such a big thing about it, and he owned the catalog. So we're going to go more into that information as well. But I really wanted to point it out because this information is basically based on my whole channel of come out of her, my people, get out of harm's way. You know, destruction is coming. Michael Jackson also knew to get out of Babylon, and he went to Bahrain. He started a life there, and he ended up trying to double back and go back to Babylon to do music and do things, and that's where he ultimately lost his life, you know. Okay, so guys, check this clip out. This is supposedly taken one day before Michael Jackson was unalive. This is what he said, so he knew, you know, he knew.
I don't know if I should tell you this, but I don't know who may be listening. There may be a group of people don't want to drug me. They don't want me here anymore.
I don't understand. What do you mean? Talk to me.
I just talk about it over the phone. I don't know what's going to happen, but I just feel in my soul, only God knows that it's true. They could say it. They could frame me and say I overdosed with drugs and you do a lot of things.
Who could do this?
It's not the government. It's more than government. But I don't know what to do. care. I don't care. I don't even care about my life anymore. I just want my children to be okay. No angels. I don't know if I should tell you this, but I don't know who may be listening. There may be a group of people. Don't.
Yeah, so that is so sad that his life had to be taken so shortly, and he knew. So, and he was such a big star, of his magnitude, and the fact that they can do, this to him, and there's nothing no one can do about it. So, what does that say for us? So, just to give you kind of like an inkling. Okay, so I wanted to go into the movie review. Okay, so this, I wanted to give this little bit of information, but I just wanted to review the film and how amazing it was. And so, we'll go from there, but I wanted to get that tidbit. Okay, so, so I went to the movies, guys. You saw my little, my intro, like 2-3 weeks ago, that I went to the movies and saw it. And I just want to say, oh my goodness, praise Ahaya. It was such an amazing movie. Michael Jackson's nephew, Jafar, who played Michael Jackson, he did an amazing job. And it was such a feel-good movie because it highlighted, from his beginnings until how he made it, up until he left his brothers. And I believe there's going to be a part 2 to it. But, and I pray that they don't try to tarnish his name and his legacy, because we know Netflix is in the process. People should be boycotting Netflix, by the way, for that. They tried to cover his, the court case and really try to defame him, but nothing is overshadowing this movie now. As to date, it's the highest ranking biopic movie ever in the world, with like 900 million dollars that it makes, almost $1 billion, almost at $1 billion. It's considered $1 billion that it has now made in the course of, I believe it was in April. I'm not sure when actually it was released, but guys, it's amazing. And even in his death, Michael Jackson is doing amazing, extraordinary, astounding things, even in death, and it's well worth it. And I don't think, anybody will top it. But that's why I think that they would do something like that ridiculous biopic on Netflix to defame him, always trying to, take Michael Jackson out and down, but it's just not in the cards. Because Ahaya says no, he was put here to do what he's done, and especially for our people, He is also one of the children of Israel, family, descendants of the slave ships, and look what Ahaya had done for them. Even though a lot of things he probably went against the Most High, most of these entertainers do. They sell their souls to be a part of this industry, only to, in the end, be cut down, cut short, robbed, humiliated, over and over and over. The children of Israel has gone through these type of things. But okay, let me stay focused. So, I will add some pictures and things like that showing the dynamics of when Michael Jackson was young, 4 and 5 years old, starting to sing, and his parents recognizing that he had a unique talent. Like all of them were very talented. The Jackson 5 on the whole was a very, very talented family. And the father, he worked in a, like a regular 9-to-5 job, but obviously he was talented as well. Probably him and the wife, to have so many children be that talented, like with Janet Jackson, even LaToya even sang, besides Michael Marlon, Tito, Jermaine, and Randy, all of them were musicians and singers. So the family, was very talented. I mean, the talent, just oozed up out of them. And the Jackson 5 was amazing. So, and then how, he ended up evolving. And, as he grew as a young man, I mean, he just started, being recognized. I think the story is that, I think it was Diana Ross who is responsible for getting him signed to Motown. The Jackson 5 signed to Motown. But the real story, I believe it was Gladys Knight. And I think they tried to depict Gladys Knight in the movie. And it was kind of like, I think it was Gladys Knight, but they tried to like show her as Diana Ross as well, because they didn't probably want no problems. And then they also talked about Susan DePasse, who was responsible for taking him to Barry Gordy. So it was like a lot of little hidden nuggets in there trying to show who actually was the one without saying it. I mean, they said that Suzanne Passy, who was working for Motown at the time, when she was like a big executive at the time, she actually brought them to Barry Gordy. But before that, there was another young man who had offered to bring them, and I forgot who it was. Not Marvin Gaye, but it was someone else. And then they talked about that. But then they showed Gladys Knight at a show, and she promised them as well. So it was, a little bit ambiguity within the movie, but they made it as if it was Diana Ross. She got the publicity. She got the one who got the acclaim for bringing Michael Jackson over to Motown, where they got signed. Him and his brothers, Jackson 5, they got signed to Motown, and that's when everything really started for them. I thought that they did a wonderful job at casting. Whoever the casting agent was did a wonderful job by using Nia Long. I mean, she really looked like Katherine Jackson. She was amazing as Katherine Jackson. She did an awesome job, and they really honed in on the relationship with Catherine and Michael, and how she was trying to protect him. She knew he was special. She knew he had a gift, and I'm sure everybody else knew it too. But she really tried to support him and protect him, because the father was a bit, aggressive and strong in his way. And you know how a mom's love is. So she was always with all the boys, but you could, it was about Michael. So also, I thought they did an amazing job with the father. This guy who played Joseph Jackson, wow, he transformed. He embodied the role, because he looked nothing like Joe Jackson in real life, and I was shocked when I saw them on a panel. He was Nia Long, the guy who played Joseph Jackson, and the young Michael Jackson, and also Jafar. I'm sorry, I don't know their names besides Nia Long and Jafar. But this man who played Joseph Jackson, he transformed. He actually looked a lot like Joe Jackson, his mannerism. I mean, because when I saw him on the panel in the interview, I was like, well, who is he? I didn't know he could have even transformed like that. Aside from the makeup, was really well done. He really, really embodied Joe Jackson, his look, and really transformed, because he looks nothing like that. Okay, so I thought that was great. The casting, the young boy who played Michael Jackson, I did a little research on him, and he was amazing, and he's actually a Michael Jackson impersonator. He does that for a living. So, but as Michael Jackson in his older age, doing the moonwalk and stuff like that, he performs on the street. So they cast him, and he was excellent. You can tell he loves Michael Jackson, and he embodied that role as the young Michael Jackson. It's just really, really was a great, great film, and a great depiction of it. It was lighthearted, very family orientated, not harsh. And I'm so glad that they didn't go into the trial and try to, smear him, because that was all a smear campaign anyway. Just trying to take him down because that he owned he owned the industry. He was Sony Records, and he owned the industry right before he died. He had all the masters to a lot of, not just the Beatles, a lot of groups. He brought out a lot of catalogs. He owned them. And so they were so mad at him, and they wanted to get rid of him, and eventually they did. And I just, I pray that you all go and see the movie. I mean, people were singing, and here I'm in the Middle East, guys. I'm in Jordan, and they were singing along. They were clapping. People were really, really resonating because he was loved worldwide, y'all. He is the #1 performer, entertainer, singer in the world. And he's one of us. He's from the tribe of Judah. He's, came on slave ship, forefathers. He's one of us. And he, towards the end, he really started to stand up and, really show that he hadn't conformed. Even though he grew up in, Pharaoh's house. He grew up in Pharaoh's house. He definitely was not about, that. And he was trying to struggle and break his way out. And I think that's a mistake that a lot of these entertainers make. A lot of people think that they could beat the system. A lot of these artists, they try to think that because they impoverished, they ain't got no money, people were poor, grew up in the ghettos, they look at it as a way out. But you have to sell your soul to Satan in order to get those riches. And listen, you got to say no. You just got to say no. You cannot try to finagle your way and think that that's going to work. Because look what happened to Michael Jackson. He died young. He could still be with us. You understand? But because of Esau is not going to allow anybody, no one. This is what happened to Whitney Houston, the late great Luther Vandross, all of our, people, Phyllis Hyman, Billie Holiday. I mean, it goes on, and the list goes on and on and on, brothers and sisters. So Michael Jackson was, one of the major casualties in this, our curses, suffering the curses in Babylon, having the mindset, thinking that you can beat the system, when these people are not going to let one get away. Not one. And that's why Kanye West and all these people are going through these things. And when you speak up, you're ostracized, and eventually you meet your demise. Look at Prince. These very, very talented people are taken out. Who knows with Bob Marley, why, the backstories behind our people dying and being unalive at such early ages. In this music industry. James Brown, Aretha Franklin, some of them lived, Tina Turner, they lived to be older, but they were definitely under, all, in the midst of all what was going on, and being restricted, and, not being able to speak up. And if you speak up, then you ostracize, and a lot of people end up on drugs because they can't handle, the sacrifices you have to do, and all the demonic, rituals and things you have to participate in, even to be a part of this wicked system. So that's why, guys, I am just so thankful of being able to get out. And I know I had no real success like any of these people I'm talking about, but I'm thankful that I had to make different choices, and and accept the fact that fame and fortune is not that, not such a bigger thing if you got to sell your soul, and go through all what you got to go through to just have it, because there's obviously no peace of mind. People are not, at peace. Actually, when Michael Jackson left and went to Bahrain after being on trial for child molestation, I mean, I don't know certain words I can't say, but, he just went and tried to just get peace of mind. That's why he left, thinking that he can return. And that's when he was unalived, when he was taken out. You understand? And then they call it a drug overdose. It's always a drug overdose. And it is not just our people. Anybody who don't go along who don't do what they do, they will take them out. There's a lot of people who are taken out or maybe were sacrificed for somebody else's career, you know. So you don't know at what point, you know, these things, you know, you could be somebody's sacrifice and you end up being underlined. Just like, you know, Jam Master Jay, I believe he was somebody's sacrifice, you know. I believe it could have been him, or it could have been like 50 Cent, because he came up out of the ashes when Jam Master Jay was taken out. So it's always something with these people. It's a bunch of wickedness, and, you know, unfortunately, we watched some of the greatest artists, you know, be taken down in this type of manner because they had to succumb to, you know, trying to utilize their talents. But Esau is not going to allow it. You must sell your soul. And this is what these people had to do. And unfortunately, Michael Jackson, you know, was cut short because of these things. And thinking that you can come out, he ran out and thinking that you can double back. And it's a good example, and it's definitely great content for my channel when I'm telling people, come out of my people, come out, come out, come out, and understand the severity of the situation, that you must get out and you must come under the hedge of protection of a higher Bahashim Yeshaya, okay? You know, so don't play with this, y'all, you know. So I'm not varying, you know, from the information that I've been speaking. This is just another avenue that I can come before you with these examples. And I will be covering other people, you know, aside from Michael Jackson. I will be covering, you know, a lot of people like Kanye and, you know, a lot of these artists who are dealing with these situations and how they must sell their soul in this land called Babylon, in that land called Babylon, in order to thrive or survive and try to make it, to get into me. But these days are over, brothers and sisters. We are at the end. We are at the end times. Praise the Hayah Bahashim Yeshaya. Come out of her, my people. Jordan is the safe place. And this is where the Most High is going to deal with his people. So, I know our people are, mulling around in that wilderness, but eventually they will have to come out. So, praise the Hayah. So I wanted to just talk about that now. I wanted to talk about, before I forget, because there's a lot of little things I did, I wanted to speak about. I wanted to mention that I had the opportunity to sing background for Michael Jackson, and I am so excited about that. I actually got to sing background, but I was in a chorus. It was like a big choir that we at Madison Square Garden. It was like the 30th anniversary of something. I'm gonna put up some clips because I found some clips about it, and I didn't have any video, but I got the chance to meet Michael Jackson, guys, and I want to give that story because it was amazing for me. I happened to, I got picked to. A friend of mine who was in the industry called me up. He was like an agent. He was like someone who worked in the business. And he asked me, did I want to sing? I got called and I sang background at Madison Square Garden in New York City for Michael Jackson. I was in the chorus though. It wasn't, it was a lot of people. But what I did was I ended up sneaking away. We was getting dressed and getting ready. And a friend of mine who's a dancer, who's one of these big dancers, he also got called, for we both was on the show, but he was a dancer, so he was in a different part. Like I had gotten dressed and we were waiting around in the dressing room. So I had, found my way trying to go down to where the dancers were, and I ended up going out, and I was in the parking lot. I don't know how I got down there, but I got down there. I know it was the Most High. When I walked out, Michael Jackson was walking in, and he was walking right towards me. Can you imagine the king of pop? I wanted to go, and I was starstruck, guys. I didn't know what to say, not to do. I was just like, I love you, Michael. And I was stuck. I was just like, he was coming right towards me. He was like with say 4 or 5 other people, and he was walking in, I guess from his car or whatever. They was driving him in. And all I could say was, I love you, Michael. And he was like, I love you too, baby. Or not baby, he said, I love you too. And I was just like, I couldn't believe it. So I personally, and I didn't have my camera on me. I didn't have nothing on me because I was just running down to see my friend who was dancing for Michael as well. And it was just a moment of a lifetime. I actually got to meet the king of pop. I didn't touch him. I didn't like go up to hug him or anything. I just was like starstruck. I was like, and I said, I love you, Michael. And he was like, I love you too. And I was like, so that's my story of meeting MichaelJackson. I got a chance, and not only did I meet him, but I ended up singing background for him in Madison Square Garden. So it was amazing. You know, these are the wonderful things that Ahaya allowed me to experience on my journey. You know, and there's some other interesting things I did. I have a picture I showed you guys, or it was in one of my, I did background for Diddy as well. And I'll do another story on that situation. But for now, we're going to stay focused on MichaelJackson. But yes, I sang background and I saw him up and close and personal like this. I was like, I love you, Michael. And he was like, I love you too. And I said, wow. And then he just kept walking by. And I was like, so I always felt like the Most High was just giving me brushes of success through my journey. So I got to do, you know, I got to sing background for different people, and I got to meet different people. You know, I've met Jay-Z a couple of times. I met Dame Dash. I'm going to talk about all these things on my channel, okay, guys? So that you will, you know, just get abreast of, you know, me. I you know, small little details that, but, you know, I do have my little stories as well. So that's just one of them. I'm so thankful. I thought that Umar Johnson, I think that's his name, Umar Johnson. He did an excellent piece. He was in an interview for the Art of Dialogue, and he had his notes, and he just went into some great information. So I want to play the clip, and I'll see it. I hope I don't get any kind of strikes for this. But this is entertainment and it's educational purposes only, so that you can get the real rundown of MichaelJackson and what he was dealing with. It's excellent. So I'll be right back.
MichaelJackson movie starring his nephew, Jafar. First of all, I want to say Jafar Jackson did a supreme job. Superb art. That young man should get Oscar for Best Actor. I doubt that happens because they already gave it to our brother Michael B. Jordan. And as you know, we only get it every 10 to 15 years. But Jafar Jackson deserves Best Actor. Absolutely. He channeled his uncle as only a nephew can do. I'm a MichaelJackson fan. I wanted to be Michael Jackson. I had the jackets, the gloves. I did the dance. My mother named me after his older brother, Jermaine. I was born Jermaine, not Umar. My father changed my name when I was approximately 7 years of age. Let's get into this. MichaelJackson. First of all, I can't believe that you got Caucasian Nation out here, white America, running around complaining, Art, that the movie did not cover the child sex abuse allegations. How dare Caucasian Nation get upset because the movie didn't cover the child sex allegations? Art, the movie doesn't need to cover the child sex allegations. Not part one, not part two. And why not, Art? Because MichaelJackson was never convicted of any child sex allegations. Had he been convicted, I could possibly understand. But just like white people do with their heroes, they don't talk about the negative stuff in their life. They talk about the positive stuff in their life. They just had a movie come out about Elvis Presley. Priscilla was sleeping in that man's house since she was 14 years old, and white people still celebrate Elvis. Thomas Jefferson was molesting a little black girl by the name of Sally Hemings since she was 11 or 12 years old. White people still about to celebrate Thomas Jefferson on July 4th, 2026, America's 250th birthday. So how dare you celebrate known pedophiles, Art? They're celebrating known pedophiles. But you want black people to publicly lynch Michael Jackson, who was acquitted of all charges of his 2005 trial, Art. Acquitted of all charges. And I saw an interview with my Philadelphia brother Coleman Domingo and my beautiful sister Nia Long. They were promoting the Michael movie, and it was on one of those Neanderthal talk shows, and somebody asked them about the fact that the child sex allegations were not covered. And they said, well, this movie was about the first half of his life. Well, that might be true, Art, but part 2 is coming out. And part 2 better not slander Michael. So Antoine Fuqua, the director, brother, if they want you to slander Michael Jackson's image in part 2, don't do it. And I do have concerns about that, Art. I do have concerns that they might want to slander Michael Jackson in part 2. Why? Because the movie is produced by 3 white men. To my knowledge, the movie is being produced by 3 white men. So who knows what their agenda is going to be. But I hope Antoine Fuqua don't go for that nonsense. Now, let's get back to the timeline, Art. Let's get back to the timeline. First of all, let me say this about the movie. I loved it. I loved it. It was great. Everybody needs to see it. However, as a Michael Jackson enthusiast, I did expect to learn something that I did not already know. I think the movie was perfect for millennials, Art. But if you were a Generation Xer, you already knew everything in that movie. I would have appreciated a little bit more insight into the family dynamic. In other words, how was his relationship with each of his siblings? And how was their relationship with Michael's success? And how did their parents relate to them in the context of Michael's success? Did they feel left out? Did they feel overlooked? Did they feel pushed to the side? Because his brothers had no voice in the movie, Art. The Jackson 5 had no voice. The sisters really didn't have no voice. Where was Rebe? She wasn't represented. Janet wasn't represented. I really felt the movie focused a little too much on his relationship with his father. They basically threw Joe Jackson under the bus. And don't get me wrong, I do believe Joe Jackson was a narcissist, rest in peace. I do believe he was living his own dream through his sons. But with that being said, Art, Michael Jackson doesn't become Michael Jackson without Joe Jackson. In other words, Michael Jackson, Art, was a chosen one. Mike was chosen. Anybody who looks at that man with the talent and the gifts that he had, he was born to inspire through his music. His record, Thriller album, 135 times platinum, I think it is now, that'll never be broken. He came to this world to inspire through his music. And just like Christ, he was unalived because of his mission. Now let's run through the timeline, Mike. Let's run through the timeline, Art. Thriller, Michael Jackson's 6th album. Most people don't know Michael Jackson had 5 albums before Thriller, Art. 5 of them. One of them was produced right here in Philadelphia. Kenny Gamble, Gamble and Huff. Michael lived in Philly for a minute while he was working on the one album with Gamble and Huff. So anyway, he had 5 studio albums. Thriller was the 6th. He left Motown, got with Quincy Jones. They do Thriller. Thriller is released November the 29th of 1982, Art. November 29th, 1982. By 1984, It is put in the Guinness Book of World Records as the #1 selling album of all time. Guess what Michael Jackson decides he wants to do, Art? Hold on, we ain't there yet. I'm going to get there. So, Thriller in 1982, Guinness Book of World Records in 1984. In August of 1985, Art, 1985, guess what Michael Jackson decides he wants to do? He decides to make the biggest single publishing rights purchase in music history. Michael Jackson pays $47.5 million for the ATV music catalog. 4,000 songs, Art. This is August the 10th of 1985. Thriller came out November 29th, 1982. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records, 1984. So he's still riding Thriller, Art. He's still riding the wave. But Mike doesn't settle. Most entertainment done what? Chill with their money. Mike said, nah, I don't just want to be a musician. I want to own the game. I don't just want to be a musician. I want to own the game. So guess what he does? He buys ATV music catalog, Art, 4,000 songs, 125 Beatles classics, 125 Beatles classics, Elvis Presley's music, a sizable collection of Elvis music. Guess who else, Art? Little Richard, Bruce Springsteen, Cher, and a whole host of other artists. Art, he owns their publishing. Michael Jackson does this. It's the largest music publishing acquisition by a single artist in history. That is 1985. So he's on top of the world, Art, on top of the world. And then guess what he does? A decision that he will regret. In 1991, he signs a 15-year, 6-album deal with Sony Records. A 15-year, 6-album deal with Sony Records. This deal, Art, will bring Michael Jackson $1 billion plus over the course of the 15-year contract. He owes him 6 albums. He gets 25% of the revenue share, and he gets to start his own label, right? Everything going fine. Then he makes another decision that I think he regrets, Art. So the 1991 contract, that's only for his own personal catalog. You with me? The 6 albums that include Thriller. That's the 15-year, 6 albums with Sony, 91. But guess what Mike does in 1995, Art? He allows Sony Records to buy a 50% share of the ATV catalog. Elvis, Beatles, Rolling Stones, Bruce Springsteen, Cher, Little Richard. Sony Records pays Michael Jackson $95 million for a 50% stake in the ATV music catalog. This makes Michael Jackson basically a 50% owner with Sony Records, right? My third rule of racism is what? White people don't share power with black people. White people do not share power with black people. Sony Records did not sign Michael to those 2 contracts. Sony Records, Art, did not sign Michael Jackson to those 2 contracts just for him to be with them for 15 years. They brought him to the table so they could take over his music completely. And I believe, allegedly, let me say allegedly, I believe this same company was the cause of Michael Jackson's death. Allegedly, I believe that. Now, stay with me. As soon as Michael signs the contract in 95, Art, for the catalogs, he automatically starts falling out with Tommy Mottola. He's not getting his revenue share. They're not letting him make the decisions that he want to make, Art. Mike ain't feeling this at all. Okay? Now, Tommy Mottola, between 95 and 97, Art, Tommy Mottola says, because of these child sex abuse allegations, Art, we don't know if we can support you the way we would want to. MichaelJackson says, wait a minute. I got a 15-year, 6-album contract. I'm the #1 musician in the world, the #1 entertainer in the world, the highest selling album of all time. I'm the king of music, not just the king of pop. I'm the king of music. And we got a 50% stake in my catalog, and you don't know if you can support me? Guess what Michael says, Art? Mike says, no problem. Let me out the contract. I should have never signed with y'all anyway. MichaelJackson tells Tommy Mottola and Sony Records, let me out the contract. They said, we not doing that. October 30th of 2001, Art, Michael Jackson's last album, Invincible, comes out, right? Sony Records wants Michael Jackson to sign a contract extension. Michael Jackson tells Sony Records, I'm not signing no contract extension. I don't want to be a part of y'all no more. Y'all done already pissed me off. I want my catalog back. I want my personal catalog back. I want my ATV catalog back. And I'm done with you racist Neanderthals. Guess what Sony does? They extend their copyright. Something that the contract allowed them to do that Michael Jackson didn't know that they could do, Art. And I want to say this, Art, right here, right now. Michael Jackson's attorneys were secretly working for Sony Records, I believe. Let me say allegedly. I believe Michael Jackson's attorneys were working for Sony Records. I'm going to tell you why, Art. Michael Jackson, when he signed the contract in 1991 for his personal catalog, he was under the assumption or the understanding, based on what his lawyers told him, that he would get his masters back in 1999. Michael Jackson thought he was going to get his masters back in 1999. He finds out around 1999, Art, that he not getting his masters back until 2009, the year he died. Are you following me on this, Art? Let me say that one more time. Let me say this one more time. Michael Jackson thought he was going to get his masters back in 1999. His lawyers played him. He finds out in 1999 he's not getting his master recordings back until 2009, the year he died. I think you know where I'm going with this. So now, Art, Tommy Mottola tells Michael Jackson, if you don't extend your contract, we're not going to finance Invincible. Michael Jackson said, I'm not signing no contract extension with you devils. I want out. So they sabotage Invincible, Art, to put him in debt. Why did they want Michael Jackson in debt? To try to force him to sell his personal catalog and the joint ATV catalog, Art. Sony Records was bankrupting Michael Jackson to try to force him to turn over all of his music. They signed with him to destroy him and take his music. Same thing Warner Brothers did with Prince, allegedly, that led to his premature execution. Stay with me, Art. So 2001, Invincible comes out. It goes several times platinum, but that's a flop for Michael Jackson, right? So the next year, Michael Jackson has a protest in New York City with Al Sharpton, and he calls Tommy Mottola, the head of Sony Records, a devil and a racist. You remember that, don't you? He called him a devil and a racist, and he said that he called Irv Gotti, rest in peace to Irv, Murder Inc. He said he called Irv Gotti a fat ninja. Now, Art, the year after Michael Jackson has that protest against Sony Records in New York where he calls Tommy Mottola a racist and a devil. That was 2002, July. Guess what, Art? The next year, he's arrested for child sex molestation. You're not going to tell me that's a coincidence. Right after the protests, the next year, he's arrested for child molestation. Right after Diddy settles with Diageo Liquor, Diddy is arrested on federal. You see how this works? Same thing they did to Michael Jackson, they did it to Diddy. Stay with me, Art. So Michael Jackson is arrested in 2003. In 2004, Eminem, the white Jesus of hip hop, Eminem attacks Michael Jackson. He comes out with a song called Just Lose It, 2004. He's mocking Michael Jackson's surgery. He's mocking Michael Jackson's child sex abuse charges. And he's even mocking Michael Jackson's hair being burned during that Pepsi commercial. I'm sure you remember that. Now, in 2007, Art, I don't know if this was in retaliation for what Eminem did to him or not, but in 2007, Sony ATV, which is Sony and Michael Jackson, they purchase, Art, the Famous Music LLC catalog. Guess what this gives them, Art? 125,000 songs. 125,000 songs, including who? Eminem's entire back catalog, all the way up until his 2004 Encore album. Michael Jackson and Sony owns the publishing of all of Eminem's records up until that time. Basically, you make a mockery of me, I'll buy out your catalog. That's how Michael Jackson paid back Eminem. Now, let me back up, Art. Let me back up. And then I'm going to come back to the last years of Michael Jackson's life. Better yet, let me stay there for a minute. Let me stay there. So 2003, he gets arrested. 2004, he's attacked by Eminem. 2005, the trial begins, Art. February 2005, Black History Month. I'm getting ready to go to Africa for the first time as Minister of Education for the Marcus Garvey movement. I'll never forget it. Michael Jackson is acquitted of all 10 counts on June 13th, 2005, Art. He's acquitted of all counts. Within months of being acquitted, guess what? The little boy's mother is charged with fraud and perjury for lying on Michael Jackson during the trial. She settles with a plea deal. 2006, the Guinness Book of Real Records, Art, they put Michael Jackson in the Guinness Book again for the greatest entertainer of all time. 2007, he buys Eminem's music as part of a 125,000 song Famous Music LLC catalog. 2008, Art, 25th anniversary of the Thriller album. When Thriller comes out for the 25th anniversary in 2008, Art, it goes #1 in 8 countries and is #2 in the United States. So Michael Jackson realizes he's still the biggest musician in the world. Remember, Art, he's trying to get out of his contract with Sony. He will not extend the rights with Sony. After he gets acquitted from the charges, Art, he moves to the Middle East, Bahrain, whatever they call it. At the invitation of a king over there, Michael goes to the Middle East with his children. He visits his brother Jermaine Jackson, who's living in Dubai at the time. Michael Jackson, realizing with the 25th anniversary Thriller album, Art, he can make enough money to pay off his debts with Sony, get his catalog, start his own music company, take over the world. He initially agrees to 10 concerts, or 10 of them. But because of the demand, the concert promoters asked Mike to do a 50-city tour. Michael Jackson says, I'm going to do it. This is going to be my last tour, and I'm going to call it This Is It. He moves to Las Vegas. He's living in Las Vegas, 2007, 2008 art. He's living in Las Vegas. He start preparing for the tour. Because in his mind, art, I get my masters back when, art? The end of 2009. Sony Records has to give me my master recordings back 2009. My Thriller album is out. I'm back on top of the world. I'm going to do these 50 stops on this tour, make all this money, pay off my debt, get out of Sony, and start a whole company under my own name. You with me, Art? He makes a mistake, Art. He decides to move back to LA so he can practice at the Staples Center. The reason he wants to practice at the Staples Center, Art, is the Staples Center has all of the technical amenities that Michael Jackson needs in order to fully practice his tour. Because as you know, he's very elaborate with the special effects, the stunts, the dress rehearsals, and he's a Virgo. He's a Black August baby. August 29th, Mike is a perfectionist. So he says, we got to do the Staples Center because I can do it right at the Staples Center. Now check this out, Art. The tour was supposed to begin March of 09. Michael Jackson pushes the tour back. This was fatal, Art. This was fatal. Michael Jackson pushes the tour back from March of 2009 to July 13th of 2009. See that? So he's going to hang around in Los Angeles a few months too long. Art, if he gets on that tour, they can't get to him. If he gets on that tour, Art, in March, they can't get to him. But when he decided to push the tour back so he could practice and perfect the stage performances, that gave a certain music company enough time to plan Michael Jackson's demise. And on June the 25th, 2009, Art, exactly 2 weeks and 4 days before the first concert, 2 weeks and 4 days before the first concert, a black doctor helped him overdose on Provolol, I believe it is, and Michael Jackson was unalive. Art, are you going to tell me it's a coincidence that Michael Jackson dies 2 weeks before the first concert? He dies a few months before Sony was due to return his masters. Look how convenient this is, Art. Look how convenient. You die right before you're supposed to get your master recordings back for the #1 selling album in world history. Now, let me go back for a minute, Art. Let me go back to 1993. When did Mike, he bought the ATV music catalog, the Beatles and the Elvis, Bruce Springsteen, Rolling Stones, Little Richard. He bought that 4,000 song ATV catalog in 1985. He signs his 15-year deal with Sony in 1991, right? He puts in a bid for Marvel Comics in 1993, Art. When does Michael Jackson get his first child abuse accusation? 1993, right after he puts in a bid to own Marvel Comics, Art. Look at this. Michael Jackson was playing to be the king, bro. Michael Jackson, as much as he loved white people and kids, and I'll never understand that because they all turned on him, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But as much as Michael Jackson loved white people and white kids, Art, he was the Malcolm X of the music business. Michael Joseph Jackson was the Malcolm X of the music. Look at this, Art. I got the #1 album. I'm going to buy a 4,000 song catalog that gives me the publishing rights to the Beatles, Elvis, Rolling Stones, and Bruce Springsteen. Look at this, Art. And then I'm going to turn around, sign a contract with Sony that's going to turn me into a billionaire, and then I'm going to buy Marvel Comics. Art, when he bought that 4,000 song catalog in 85, and when he put the bid in for Marvel Comics in 93, that's when the white power structure said, I think they might have decided right then, Art, if we can't control him, we're going to unalive him. If we can't control him, they never had a black artist, Art. Sam Cooke owned his own music. Sam Cooke had his own record label. But Sam Cooke didn't have the #1 selling album in human history. Sam Cooke didn't buy a 4,000 album catalog. Michael Joseph Jackson was moving like the Malcolm X of the music industry, Art. So he gets accused of child sex abuse in 93, 13-year-old boy. He settles out of court for $22 million. He gets accused again in 1996, Art, while he's still trying to get Marvel Comics. And then, Art, the 2003 accusation comes right after he criticizes Sony Records. I believe, Art, allegedly, this is all alleged, I believe Sony Records paid those people to accuse Michael Jackson of those crimes, Art, so he could go to jail, so they could bankrupt him through prison fees and bankrupt him through debt, like they did Bill Cosby, Art, like they trying to do Sean Combs. We're going to bankrupt Michael Jackson and make him sell us the catalog. And you know what's so sad about this whole thing, Art? Guess who bought out the catalog from the Jackson estate after they allegedly unalived Michael Jackson? Guess who owns the music now?
Who's that?
Sony Records. What did his mother say, Art? Queen Mother Catherine Jackson. She did an interview with Dateline in 2010, Art. And Catherine Jackson said that Michael Jackson used to call her and say, Mom, they want to take my life. She said he kept telling me over and over that they want to take my life for what I know. And I think, Art, he's talking about his knowledge and mastery of the music business. And Catherine Jackson said that her son, Michael Jackson, told her, keep an eye out on my catalog. He said, some very evil, greedy men want my catalog, Art. His mother said she told him this. Some very evil, greedy men want my catalog. Art, it is a shame what they did to Michael Jackson. Now let's go post-death. Let's go post-death and we're going to end. After Michael Jackson dies in 2009, on November the 11th of 2011, Art, 11/11/11, Conrad, the doctor, Conrad Murray. This is the same day I go to Nat Turner land for the first time. This is my first visit to the Nat Turner War Trail. 11/11/11, Conrad Murray is found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. He does about 5 years in prison. In 2013, Art, Wade Robson and James Safechuck accused Michael Jackson of molesting them for approximately 7 years, with most of the molestation coming between 1988 and 1992. What's wrong with this allegation, Art? Not only did they wait till he passed, but they defended Michael Jackson at his 2005 trial, Art. They defended him and said he was innocent. They defended Michael Jackson against the boy. And after Michael Jackson dies, they come out and say he molested us. Money grab. Straight up money grab. Art, you mean to tell me you get molested between 1988 and 1992, and you wait until 02, 12. You wait 22 years to tell anybody. 22 years to tell anybody, and conveniently Michael Jackson is dead. But guess what happens, Art? The judge throws it out. In 2015, the judge throws it out. But guess what happens then? HBO HBO Art decides to do a documentary on these two white boys, Robson and Safechuck, called Leaving Neverland. And guess who does the promo interview with these two liars? None other than Oprah Winfrey, the richest woman in the history of North America. Can you tell me why Oprah Winfrey would stab Michael Jackson in the back in his death, Art? In his death. She interviews these two liars on her show, promoting the HBO documentary. And guess what happens after the documentary comes out in 2019, Art? In 2020, the courts changed the law, and they say if you was a victim of child sex abuse, we're now going to allow you to bring that old suit back to court. Same thing they did with Puffy, same thing they did with R. Kelly, same thing they did with Bill Cosby. Look at the repetition, Art, the same playbook. The court changed the law, so Safechuck and Robson, who I allege are liars, because how you going to say the man innocent, then he guilty 22 years later? So they bring the court case back after leaving Netherlands. California passes a law reviving the old child sex abuse claims. And in August of 2023, Art, the appeals court ruled that they can proceed with their case against MJJ Productions and MJJ Ventures, claiming that Michael Jackson's companies should have protected them from the child sex allegations. Art, how are you going to prove child sex allegations in 2026 and it happened in 1992? 02, 12, 22. Art, that's 35 years later, Art. How are you going to prove Michael Jackson molested you from 1988 to 1992, 35 years later in 2026, Art? Look at this crap. That lawsuit is in the courts right now, Art. That lawsuit is in the courts right now. So I'm saying all that to say that I think it's a shame that all the white people Michael Jackson trusted and all the white kids Michael Jackson trusted, Art, are now suing him and trying to get rich off of him in his death. I think it is a damn shame. And that family, what's the family name, Art? The four sibling?
The Casio family.
Casio, I think it is. They originally defended Michael Jackson too, Art. They said he was innocent. And then they came back after he died and said they got molested. So Michael Jackson estate gave them what, $15 to $16 million allegedly? And guess what they said, Art? It wasn't enough money. They signed it under duress and they want more money. Everybody Michael Jackson helped is trying to rob him in his death. I hope that part 2 of that Michael movie does him justice. I hope our good brother Antoine Fuqua does Michael Jackson justice, because if they're going to slander that man's name, Art, then there's no need to do the documentary.
Okay, guys, before I forget, I said I'm doing 40 years promotion for my music channel and all the, things that I've done in the music industry. 40 years in the wilderness. So as you can see, I have my 40-year plaque up, Praise Higher, and I will, I got a new website, chandrasimmons.com. I will be doing a new album or two so if you go to my website, guys, just go check out the website, get you a cup. I got cups, the Highest Promise cups, t-shirts, as you can see, and I got the tumblers for different things, guys. I got hats, okay, and different t-shirts. And so I hope you go and support the channel, guys. I got this beautiful light blue. It's Never Gonna Let You Go. This is my first single that I did on Sleeping Bag Records. I'm so excited and I'm so proud of it. Praise God Higher. 40 years, guys, in the music business. I survived Babylon. Okay, I'm gonna play my I survived Babylon. But I got these great T-shirts. So I wanted to know, if you guys will go purchase you a tumbler, get you a cup, get you a t-shirt, a baseball cap, and the first 20 people that make a purchase and join my mailing email, join my email list, you get a free t-shirt. Okay, so I got all kind of, this is Chandra Simmons merch. I got Higher Promise. So if you go and make a purchase and join my email list, I will send you a t-shirt. So that's one of my promotions. So it's buy one, get one free. Whatever you buy, you'll get a free t-shirt. But the first 20 people. Okay, so if you go to chandrasimmons.com, and when you go, you can scroll and look at all the little cool things I got. And I'll be adding more stuff. But as I go along, because I got the Song of Moses, and I will be doing my album. I will place my album there, and you can do pre-orders. And even with the pre-order of the album, if you pre-order and you join my mailing list, you'll get a free t-shirt, okay? And whichever one you like, you just let me know. You can send me an email at info@chandrasimmons.com. info@chandrasimmons.com. I'll put it on the screen. So if you want to support me and support the channel and my journey and all the work I've been doing on YouTube over the years, I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Share the channel. Send it out. Enjoy my music. I will be doing a new album, and pre-orders are available now. I'm almost finished. I'm doing some tweaking. I'm adding a couple of songs. Actually, I have enough material to probably do 2 albums. So I just wanted to let you know about it. Never gonna let you go. And I thank Ahaya for this opportunity, but I'm thankful to be out of Babylon. I'm thankful to be delivered out of Babylon. And so this is my 40-year journey in the music business, and I'm so thankful that I didn't have to sell my soul or do any kind of wickedness, to be a part of it. I got out in time, and unfortunately that a lot of our people did not make it out. There's so many great artists who had to go through and pave the way, for other artists to go and be destroyed. I mean, people were just paving the way. Like Billie Holiday, for one, she went through so much, drug addiction and all kind of things. And, Phyllis Hyman, and then Luther Vandross, and these people, Donny Hathaway. There's so many people. The list goes on and on and on. Aside from MichaelJackson and Prince and Whitney Houston, I mean, there's so many of our people who got destroyed in that wicked system. And I'm so thankful to have gotten out alive and be here in Jordan and be able to tell you. So I'm going to give, on this channel, I'll be coming from a music point of view, but the message is still the same. Come out of her, my people. Get out, get out, get out. Jordan is the safe place. That is a wicked place, and I survived, and I'm so thankful. Praise Ahaya Bahashim Yeshaya. So please go to my website, get you some merch. I'll send you, for the first 20 people, I'll send you a t-shirt, and just support. I appreciate it. I love you, and I pray I get to see you in this wilderness. We can break bread together. Okay, brothers and sisters, so praise Ahaya Bahashim Yeshaya. I have to give all glory and praise. I hope you enjoy this. Before I go, I want to play one last little bit. In 2009, when Michael Jackson passed away, I actually was in Babylon. I had went back there because my mom was sick, and she had recovered, and we went to see Michael Jackson memorial. They had a memorial like on 125th Street at the Apollo Theater. So me and my mom went. We stood in line for like 4 hours. Maybe this is before she had the surgery, when I first got there. And she wanted to go see Michael Jackson. So I went with her, and we stood on the line outside the Apollo. The line was all the way down 4 or 5 blocks. We was out there for hours and hours and hours. My mom had her chair though, and she was sitting down, but I don't know how she did it. But she, we went to see his memorial. They had this big memorial in the building for people to come, and so I still have the USB. I don't know how I got this on there. They were kind of giving out for his memorial these pictures, and I kept them. I still have it, so I'm gonna play it for you as I go out. I give all glory and praise to Ahaya. So check it out, okay? And then I'll be closing out. So I'll say shalom now. Bless you, brothers and sisters. Thank you. I thank you for your support. Go to the website, ShandraSimmons.com. And again, the first 20 who make a purchase and join my mailing list will get a free t-shirt. Okay? So bless you all, and I will see you. I will try to do this every Wednesday. I will be trying, guys. You know how I'll be consistent, at least for a while. I'll do it as much as I can, you know, with these videos. I've been, forever. Praise the Higher Bashem. I'm thankful that I can come before you. So this is just some new content, a way for me to just tell you to get up out of Babylon. This is just, I done found a new way to tell you. Praise the Higher Bashem. He's merciful. Okay, so stay tuned, check it out, and shalom, and bless you. Mwah.
I never can say goodbye. No, 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 no. I never, 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 never can say goodbye. Even though the pain and heartaches seem to follow me wherever I go, though I try and try to hide my feelings, they always seem to show. And you try to steal it in me, and I always have to say no. Tell me why. Tell me why. Is it so? No, no. I never, 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 never gonna say goodbye. I never can say goodbye. Every time I think of that Edom, started and felt the joy, there's a pain piercing me right to the core. This time around you know you, I love my more and more. Tell me why. Is it so? I wanna let you go. Come on. I can say goodbye, girl. Ooh, yeah. I can say goodbye. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. I got to, yeah. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. I got to, I never can say goodbye. No, 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 no. I never, 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 never can say goodbye. Even though the pain and heartaches seem to follow me wherever I go, though I try and try to hide my feelings, they always seem to show. And you try to steal it in me, and I always have to say no. Tell me why. Tell me why. Is it so? No, no. I never, 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 never gonna say goodbye.
Yo, stop fronting and use your head.
Wake up. America is Babylon, and she will be destroyed. Revelation 18 says, come out of her, my people. You must leave now.
Imagine a nation, rich beyond imagination, overflowing with influence, power and pride. A land where the
Wake up. America is Babylon, and she will be destroyed. Revelation 18 says, come out of her, my people. You must leave now.